Have you ever heard the wild claim that ancient African kings stood 79 feet tall? It sounds outrageous at first, but what if I told you there's a fascinating story behind it? Today, we dive deep into the legends surrounding the Dinka and Tutsi people, exploring how centuries-old myths and cultural admiration transformed real attributes into tales of towering giants. Imagine hearing about colossal rulers from a time when storytelling blurred the lines between truth and tall tales. As we journey through history, you'll discover that these narratives aren't just about impossible measurements. They celebrate leadership, resilience, and the enduring spirit of a people. The Dinka and Tutsi have long been known for their remarkable stature and commanding presence. Over the years, oral traditions and early colonial accounts embellished these qualities, turning genuine admiration into legends that defy biology. While many have heard claims of 79-foot-tall kings, careful research tells us that these exaggerations are the product of metaphor and poetic license rather than literal fact. In reality, individuals from these communities are indeed impressively tall, but the notion of giants of such unimaginable proportions simply isn't supported by any scientific evidence. It all began with travelers' tales, the kind of stories where words like towering above all were used not as exact measurements, but as symbols of greatness. Over time, these accounts merged with cultural pride, giving birth to a myth that captured the imagination of generations. However, when subjecting these narratives to modern scrutiny, the numbers simply do not add up. Anthropological studies and measured data have consistently shown that the average height for men among the Dinka and Tutsi ranges around 6 to 6.5 feet. Even the tallest individuals fall far short of the legendary 79 feet, a height that challenges not only human biology, but the very laws of physics. Scientific research offers clear insight into this discrepancy. Multiple anthropometric studies have recorded the heights of various populations. And while the Dinka and Tutsi are celebrated for their stature, their dimensions remain within the bounds of natural human variation. Extensive surveys conducted by researchers specializing in human growth patterns confirm that these communities, though taller on average, do not remotely approach the fantastical measurements once narrated in myth. The claim of 79-foot giants stands as a vivid example of hyperbole. It's a linguistic embellishment intended to honor historical figures by magnifying their perceived greatness rather than to describe literal anatomy. So why does this myth persist? The answer lies in the power of metaphor. Across cultures, exaggerated descriptions serve to elevate heroes, imbuing them with qualities that inspire and captivate. Just as tales of Greek gods include feats that defy the human condition, the stories of towering African kings symbolize strength, honor, and leadership. In these narratives, the language of myth blurs the boundary between the literal and the symbolic, encouraging us to see beyond physical measurements and appreciate the grandeur of the human spirit. The ancient storytellers used the idea of immense height to represent unmatched wisdom and power, turning their kings into larger-than-life figures, grand in memory, if not in physical form. Understanding the historical and cultural context further clarifies why these myths emerged. The Dinka and Tutsi have a long history marked by resilience and significant achievements. In societies where oral traditions are paramount, storytellers often employed metaphor to celebrate the extraordinary qualities of their leaders. These richly woven narratives passed down through generations, serve to unite communities and inspire collective pride. Over time, embellishments grew as local beliefs, artistic expressions, and the natural landmarks of the region all played a part. The result is a tapestry of legend and lore, a myth of the giant king that reflects the deep respect and high aspirations of those who came before. Modern interpretations of these myths also provide valuable insights into cultural identity and pride. When people look back on their history, the image of a towering leader is not meant to be taken literally, but as a tribute to visionary leadership. Scholars and cultural historians note that the myth of the giant king speaks to the ideals and aspirations of communities that value strength and determination. It is a powerful reminder that history is not solely built on the exact facts of physical measurement, but on the symbolic narratives that capture the essence of a society's values. Even as empirical evidence paints a more realistic picture, the metaphor of the giant king continues to resonate, serving as an emblem of inspiration. Of course, for those dedicated to uncovering historical truth, distinguishing between literal fact and symbolic myth is both challenging and essential. There is immense value in appreciating the artistic and cultural context of these tales, while also grounding our understanding in solid evidence. Historical documents, archaeological findings, and modern measurement techniques have all converged to debunk the notion of 79-foot-tall human beings. The careful work of anthropologists, whose field studies offer clarity amid a blend of fact and fable, reminds us that while legends are beautiful cultural artifacts, they should not distort our grasp of reality. Every exaggeration in history, however, carries a kernel of truth. When a ruler is described as towering, the comment is less about precise dimensions and more about the immense impact they had on their people. Such descriptions are intended to express admiration, celebrating character and achievements, rather than providing literal measurements. In this light, it becomes clear that the true greatness celebrated by these myths lies not in impossible numbers, but in the legacy of leadership and the collective spirit of the Dinka and Tutsi people. Reflecting on these insights, we begin to see that the marvel is not the myth itself, but the history behind it. The genuine achievements of these communities, rooted in resilience and innovation, are what truly stand tall. Modern society may view these exaggerated tales with a healthy dose of skepticism, but they also serve as a potent reminder of how stories can shape identity and inspire future generations. The giant kings of old are not defined by literal height, but by the enduring values they represent. Values that continue to influence and uplift their descendants today. The real giant in this narrative is not measured in feet, but in the lasting impact of leaders whose legacies continue to inspire. If this exploration into the blend of myth and history has captivated your curiosity, I invite you to share your thoughts and join the conversation. What other legends intrigue you? History is full of wonders waiting to be rediscovered, and sometimes the truth is even more inspiring than the myth. In the modern era, the legacy of these legendary figures has evolved into a powerful symbol of pride and identity. Even as science debunks the literal idea of 79-foot giants, communities continue to celebrate the rich tapestry of their heritage through vibrant storytelling, art, and festivals. These expressions of cultural pride ensure that the spirit of those towering legends, embodying strength, wisdom, and resilience remains alive, passed down from one generation to the next. Scholars and elders alike remind us that while the numbers might be exaggerated, the values represented by these myths are very real. They speak to a time when leaders were revered not just for their physical presence, but for their ability to inspire unity and drive progress within their communities. In every tale of a giant king lies a kernel of truth, the celebration of human potential. That potential is what allowed these people to build remarkable societies, overcome formidable challenges, and leave an indelible mark on history. Today, as historians and anthropologists continue to analyze ancient texts, artifacts, and oral traditions, they uncover new insights that enrich our understanding of the past. Each discovery, no matter how small, contributes to a more complete picture of a civilization that valued bravery, creativity, and the power of vision. The dialogue between myth and reality isn't meant to diminish the legends. Rather, it deepens our appreciation for the extraordinary ways in which human societies have celebrated their achievements. As we wrap up this exploration, consider how myths, even when factually altered, have the power to ignite the imagination and foster a deep sense of belonging. The tales of the Dinka and Tutsi giant kings remind us that our stories, no matter how embellished over time, are woven into the very fabric of our identity. They challenge us to think beyond mere measurements and to focus on the qualities that truly make a leader or a people great. So, while we may never find evidence of a 79-foot-tall human, the myth itself towers in its own right, a monument to the power of language and the human spirit. It stands as a reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and figures, but a living narrative shaped by the dreams, struggles, and triumphs of those who came before us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through myth, science, and cultural legacy. I hope it leaves you with a renewed sense of wonder and a drive to explore the untold stories that shape our world. Remember, sometimes the most extraordinary giants we know are not measured in feet, but in the magnitude of their influence. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and let the legends of the past illuminate your path to the future.